none, I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. After that, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Alderman Lars George Payne.
Heavenly Father, tonight we'd like to take a moment and remember the Salisbury family who just lost their son Christian, Lord. Pray that you would be with the family during this time, Lord. Lord, we know that you know what it is to lose a son, Lord. And Lord, we thank you for all that you've done for us, Lord. And we pray that you would be with us in our meeting tonight, Lord. Lead, guide, and direct us. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes for two meetings, the December 6th regular meeting and the special meeting that was held on December 8th of both of 2022.
So moved.
I'll second.
We got a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is donation docket.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve the donations listed as presented for the fire department and the police department.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a revised Dizzy Dean contract between Dizzy Dean Baseball and the City of Southaven. Mr. Nick Manley.
Yeah, at the previous meeting, the mayor had informed the board that this contract would be on this agenda. It's the contract has been revised to reflect the current numbers of the Dizzy Dean tournament actually host each year, along with softball. The contract will provide the fees paid by the city will correlate to how many teams actually are entered for each tournament, along with the city providing the trophies and then the individual awards as well. And then obviously the city has to provide the calls for the for the umpires and the Dizzy Dean officials. So tonight the Dizzy Dean board has already approved this contract and it's been signed, so it's not an authorization for the mayor to sign the admitted contract with Dizzy Dean as presented.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. Just a quick update for the board. You know, again, this was done to enable us to be able to keep the Dizzy Dean World Series and still maximize our weekends for competitive tournaments with perfect game. This consolidated the time period, so it's going to add more energy back. It was just a needed adjustment because over the years the participation has gone down somewhat with Dizzy Dean. So anyway, we feel like this is a good contract, and I'm very happy that we can keep Dizzy Dean with us and perfect game, and that way we have something that fits every skill level for the kids. Like whatever your skill level and appetite for playing baseball or softball, we have something that fits that. So I just think it's really good for the city. I'm really excited about it. Any other discussion?
So was this a new contract or a revision to the current contract?
It's a revision. The other one was in place until 2024, but it was based on 2014 production numbers, and so it was just it was a great need for it to be revised. Like it was the way it was with all the changes, the reduced participation in Dizzy Dean. It didn't make sense for the city anymore like it was. And they understood that. They agreed, and so that's why they approved it. But it was a revision.
Okay.
But it does go a year longer. It goes to, that was the other thing that we wanted to do, is try to get into making our contracts coincide with election years. That way it gives this goes through the end of the year in 2025, so it would give the new board time, to get into office, review the contracts. If they want to make a change, they could do it then. So having it on election year when a new board and mayor come in, that makes more sense, contractually for the city. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a contract with PBJ Happy Day Shows Incorporated.
So this contract is with the Happy Days PBJ, which is the vendor who provides the rides along with the booths at the Southaven Spring Fest. The city receives 35% of the gross revenue, along with $400 per food vendor and $75 per game vendor. It's similar to the ones that we've approved in the past. And tonight, just need approval for the mayor to sign this contract with PBJ Happy Day Shows, Inc.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion?
Is this the same group that does, as we've had for years?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for the ratification of a utilities emergency expenditure.
Yeah, this resolution will ratify the expense in the amount of $9,490 to replace the pump at the Getwell Road water plant, which was needed for the obviously the treatment of the water at that facility. So tonight, need authorization for this ratification of the emergency expenditure, and the mayor to sign the resolution allowing for the ratification.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a contract with Event Concessions.
Yeah, this is a 3-year contract with event concessions for the amphitheater. They'll operate, staff, along with provide the drinks and or food and or merchandise required for each show coming at the Bank Plus Amphitheater. In exchange, the city will allow them to do that. In exchange, we'll receive 50% of the gross revenue, which is defined in the contract. As part of that, I think I mentioned they'll staff it, so they'll provide all the employees, all the, they take care of all the point of sale issues, they take care of basically everything. It's more of a turnkey production with them, and they'll then operate with the point of sale system that was approved at the last meeting for those charges and the credit card company. So tonight, need the authorization for the mayor to sign the contract with Event Concessions. It does have a termination for convenience clause by the city. So it is a 3-year contract, but like I said, we can terminate it for convenience based on how it goes the first year. So they've approved it, gone back and forth with revisions, and so tonight's ready for presentation and approval for the mayor.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, how do we come up with these guys? Was there a bid process, or how do we find these?
The only thing I would add is, like, there's typical people in the market that have done this. A lot of it has been done by some in the past, so it's just the people that are in that industry recommend the ones, but I'm not an expert on that topic.
This is the they're recommended by the Civic Center Board representation, and they also do the Civic Center. They do the Brandon Amphitheater, and they do some other amphitheaters in the southeast. And they are also the ones who can work with the point of sale system, that 5-serve that we provided at the last board meeting, so that it's basically a one-stop shop between those two working together, and it takes out the city as being the middleman for collecting those fees. So that's why Event Concessions was chosen for this, and since it's professional service, that was the best option that the city, based on the recommendations we received, to go with. So,
So this is the first time we've used them?
correct, yes, sir.
But they've, what we generally do, and like so many things, you know, we take the recommendations of the people that are in that business, and so, you know, the current promoter, and then, in the last year and a half, when we've made decisions to make changes at the amphitheater, you know, a lot of, all of that is come at the recommendation of people that are producing concerts at other places. Like I met with some of the people that did the facility in Orange Beach, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, some others. So it's not just ours, but some of the ones in the southeast. They generally know who the people are that you know, perform the services in the most seamless manner. So.
Or will we need these because we've expanded?
Yeah, because we're producing our own event
Okay,
now. Yeah.
okay.
Whereas in the past, you know, like when we had the previous organization was Live Nation,
I got you.
we were set up under a different structure with them. Now it's more so the city's actually producing the event, so it's we're having to get more hands-on and get down into the actual business of you know, producing the event.
And we receive, and just one quick, one thing, we do receive 50% of the gross revenue. In the past, we have not received that. So I think that, like I said, though, it is a first time to use them, but I think that one of the main things, Alderman Hoot's point was that they are experienced with using the point of sale system through Fiserv, and that was one of the main qualifying factors, along with their experience with other entities in the state of Mississippi and for the same service. So.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Southaven Fire Department contracts with Mississippi Ambulance Alliance.
There's two contracts here tonight. The first contract is the affiliation agreement, and then both have been recommended by Chief Skies after review. The Ambulance Alliance program, it provides basically for enhanced payments to the emergency ground ambulance providers, which is funded by an assessment on their revenue. The assessment will be a percentage, it's still being determined, of the revenue earned from providing the emergency ground ambulance services. Every provider will pay the same percentage. In return, the city in this instance, why being recommended, will receive 100% of the difference between the average amount it would have received for commercial payments and the amount actually paid by Medicaid for those services provided to Medicaid beneficiaries. So it is guaranteed that each member at least 5% profit under the program, and that actually will help the collections for the fire department. They're also, as far as the NDA that's associated with the affiliation agreement just basically provides there's certain consultants who work with the Mississippi Medical Alliance, or the Mississippi Hospital Alliance program. The NDA requires them not to disclose any patient information via HIPAA laws, which is the same thing the city's already under the HIPAA laws. So tonight we just need authorization for the mayor to sign both the affiliation agreement and the NDA as part of the Ambulance Alliance program, and that way the fire department can start implementing these programs for the enhanced payment benefits it'll receive. And Chief Sky to sign both, not the mayor, so that this can begin implementation with the fire department and collection procedures.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Southaven Fire Department licensing agreement.
Yeah, this license agreement is with it's for digital imaging emergency scene services. It'll basically provide, it's a license for the city to use a video, which will allow the city to train its personnel through the individual's name is Kurt Barone, and he'll provide the training along with the education when it comes to the use of digital imagery for scenes from the fire department. And so as part of that, it gives us a video that can also show future trainees. And so it's not only will we provide the service, we get the license agreement as well for the fire department, and Mr. Barone for the education on sharing and/or not sharing digital imagery scenes as opposed and when on fire scenes. So any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but it's a standard license agreement. There's a couple of provisions that we couldn't agree to that have been taken out. So just as the other ones will need authorization for Chief Skyans to sign this agreement, or this license agreement for the digital imagery training with Mr. Perone.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is an audit engagement letter for FY '22 with Watkins, Ward, and Stafford, PLLC.
This engagement letter will just set forth the accounting firm who will do the audit for the city for the FY '22. The engagement amount is $65,500, which is includes all audit services. As you know, we have quite a bit of federal money and/or PERS we have to actually account for now. So the audit will review all those issues, and they have worked. This is the first time we've used this firm, but based on the recommendation of Edie McElwain, it's been the recommendation to go with this firm based on their experience in a city our size. So tonight we need authorization for the mayor, and it's also part of their audit engagement letter, the alderman at large to sign the engagement letter with the Watkins, Ward, and Stafford for approval for the FY '22 audit.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for budget amendment.
Yeah, this resolution amends FY '23 budget to reflect the money that was restricted for police use from prior funds, so it can purchase police equipment during this fiscal year. So authorization for the mayor to sign the resolution along with the city to take all actions in accordance with the resolution for the funding of the police equipment as required in the budget amendment.
Make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a contract with Argo Entertainment, LLC.
This contract is for the 4th of July event at Snowden. This is the contract we've used the last couple of years. Argo will basically, your Argo Entertainment provides all the fireworks, provides the publicity for the event, and along with the shooting of the fireworks as well. So tonight we need authorization for the mayor to sign the contract with Argo as presented, allowing them to proceed with the July 4th program as they have done in the past and in pursuant to the terms of the contract.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is a approval of city depository.
The city recently went to bid for city depository. As you recall, the previous depository was only for 2 years. The law was changed last year to allow for the city depository to be 4 years now. So this bid will lock the city in for 4 years. Received 2 bids. The high bid in this case was Cadence, which is formerly Bancorp South, who currently has the city depository account. The interest rate, they gave a fixed interest rate of 2.85%, and so that is the recommendation of 2.85% as the highest interest rate, along with they will not charge any fees and waive all fees for the city. So the recommendation is based on the higher interest rate of 2.85% by Cadence, along with the waiver of all fees, that they be awarded the depository bid tonight for the next 4 years and continue that relationship with Cadence as a city depository.
Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for Southaven Fire Department surplus.
Yeah, this resolution will just surplus Southaven Fire Department vehicle in accordance with Mississippi Code 172525.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution to clean private property.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution granting authority to clean private property as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion among the board?
Only question I had is on the 253 Goodman Road. That's where the new bank, I believe, is going in. Is that still an issue? If they've started,
Austin, do you know? Did you hear his question? Would you-
on 253 Goodman Road, where the new bank is going in, where the Steak and Shake used to be?
Yes, sir.
Is that still a problem now that they've started construction?
Well, we've had issues.
Okay,
They just haven't
enough.
really been doing what we've asked them to, so we thought it'd be best.
that'll work.
Yeah.
Works for me. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion among the board? Hearing none, anyone in the audience that has a financial interest in the properties want to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. Our first application is to do a PUD amendment to the existing church crossing PUD. If you look on the aerial photos right now, it encompasses 113.3 acres on both sides of Airways Boulevard with also frontage on Church Road. The existing development master plan was put in place in the late 1990s. It consisted of a lot of heavy commercial and some big box warehousing. Obviously, market trends have changed. We see the errors with big box retail. We see the trends going to smaller things, mixed uses, and we've kind of eliminated the large box planned business park use. We're trying to transition out of that. So the PUD you have in front of you now takes all that into consideration and breaks it up into a much softer format for that property. There is a small portion on the west side of Airways that is proposed to be the transition area between the big box warehousing, which is 500,000 plus square feet to the south of there. This allows for planned business park, but maximizes it at 150,000 square feet. It also allows for some office and commercial use. What you see on the east side of Airways Boulevard is a mixture of mixed-use development up at the north end, which is clearly where the market's going to drive commercial along Church Road. As you get to the interior of the space, you have areas for office, campus settings, some mixed use, and as you go towards the south end of it, you have senior living and you have low-density residential. The questions brought forth to the Planning Commission obviously were square footages. So the Area F, which was your medium-density residential, sat at 2,000 square feet. The larger lots to the south were set at 2,500 square feet. They were also planned to go into a cluster design because there are some seriously old and mature hardwood trees back there that I do not want to see go, nor did the designer. So it's been designed with a cluster development. This master plan here has been done in what they call like a bubble format because it's somewhat generic in a sense that it's being used for a marketing tool right now. And as development comes into play there, they will come back to us with more detailed versions of what they want to do there. But this does include the extension of Elmore Road, south from Church Road, all the way down to where they capture a residential entrance. They do understand that is not at the cost to the city because it is development driven. This also has some accessibility on Airways Boulevard. You'll also see some open space along the lateral D Creek line there. But like I said, the main concerns that were brought forth in the Planning Commission obviously were the square footage, discussions on how Elmore Road would be built out, and per our comprehensive plan, it provides a 3-lane with a boulevard down the middle. They've accepted that. And they wanted to add some text in for if and when mixed use comes in. We don't know if that's gonna be the case, because where they've got it proposed is a little deep. We want to be very restrictive on what commercial is allowed in there. And we're setting it more for office campus. They did comply with that for the planning commission, and once that was put in place, it was voted unanimously in favor of.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve item number 1 on the planning agenda as presented.
Second.
On item 1, we have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
The second item we have on the agenda is a breakout PUD master plan from the existing Snowden Farms PUD, which was approved in 2008. This is gonna be the portion of property south of Silo Square's boundaries, all the way down to Nail Road between Getwell and Tullahoma. It's a large tract of land totaling about 144 acres. They are taking the master plan that was already set in play with Snowden Farms, and it basically just not mimicked it. They've added a lot of the single family. They've increased the square footages for the heated square footages. They've lessened the lots, and they've also added in the possibility of an assisted living facility inside the boundaries of it. It is broken down into different sections, sections A through E. A being where the assisted living and possible senior cottages would be. B would be 30 acres that had 2,200 square foot heated square minimums. Areas C and D are both proposed as gated areas that are gonna be coming directly off of Tullahoma. They do understand the AG opinion that states if they restrict it, it's private streets, so they did opt to do the passive street system, but they will be gated. Those are set at 2,800 for area C and 3,000 square foot minimums for area D. And then there's 4 lots that you see off of Nail Road, which are kind of out on their own. And the reason for that is just some environmental hardships on that portion of the property. So those are 2-acre lots with a 3,000 square foot minimum on those as well. There is no office, there is no commercial. This is strictly a residential development. A lot of open space, as you can see, is part of the master plan. We did ask them to enhance the corner of Nail Road in Tullahoma, since it is a wet pond, and it does have a lot of open space right there. We want to really enhance that so you can see it when it comes through and enters into that subdivision. There are 2 portions of area C and D which need to connect with the existing portions of Silo Square, because the overall master plan for that square mile initially had connectivity there. They have agreed to that. They're working with the developer to the north of them, and we will put security gates and a Knox box there, so there are secondary points of access to comply with that overall master plan. They did provide us some changes in terms of the senior cottages having the possibility of some duplexes there as long as they were restricted for age. They did change the typical sections for the roadways that we have, including Nail Road. They did have the sidewalk and a 3-lane road. We did have them revise that to show the median in the middle and have the multi-use path on the north side, which is what we have planned to do for the Nail Road section. We did have them submit to us the decorative perimeter fencing design, which will be the responsibility of the homeowners, and it will go all along Nail Road as well as Tullahoma. And they did do some adjustments to the landscape that we have there. After all that was put together and submitted to my office, we reviewed it with the comments from Planning Commission, and it was voted unanimously in favor of.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that you approve item number 2 on the planning agenda as presented tonight.
Second.
On item 2, we have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Looks like a nice development. Looks really nice. Roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Okay, next on our agenda is our mayor's report. A few things I need one piece of action from you, something that happened after the agenda was set. y'all know that we're preparing to start the Getwell Road South Widening Project. That project, the pre-con meeting will be coming up in the next 30 days. We expect that that construction will be going there no later than March 1st, 2023, which we've been waiting a long time on that project. But anyway, MDOT has wants another specific authorization for this project, and this authorization would be for the mayor to sign the CE&I contract for the Getwell Road Widening Project and all contractors' documentation for the project. So I'm asking for a motion to authorize me to sign those documents.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. The next thing is, y'all know that in the past, the city has participated with DeSoto County officials in the congressional briefing trip to Washington, D.C. Every year. That used to be, well, it was in March at one time, then it moved back to April, and now they're trying to coordinate with obviously our people in Washington, our senators and Congress people, to make it fit their schedules better. So they've requested that we move this trip back to May 3rd through 5 of 2023. That trip has been canned for 2 years for COVID, and then last year there were some hang-ups, so we haven't gone in a couple of years. So been some significant things that have happened in DeSoto County in the past because of the meetings and discussions that happened on this trip, so it's very worthwhile for everyone to go and for the city of Southaven. So this trip is going to happen then, so we don't need to take action tonight, but they're going to need to know, like, first part of the year, how many people from Southaven are going. And so they've asked us to keep that to a 3 or 4 people, with me being one, and either 2 or 3 aldermen, depending on who wants to go. So if y'all will discuss that, and sometime in January decide, which 3 are going to go, and then I can let them know so they can finalize the travel arrangements. They're handling the hotel room, but they asked that whoever goes, that they handle their own airfare. The hotel is the Hilton Capitol Hill Hotel that was formerly the Washington Court Hotel, which is the same place that our DeSoto County people have stayed in years past. But anyway, if y'all will be thinking about that, and then let Christy Faulkner know as soon as you know, and then we'll need to authorize travel. Right, Nick? We'll need to authorize that. We'll do that sometime in January. Give us plenty of time. Okay, and then the only other thing I just wanted to kind of go through, every year at the end of the year, I say this every year, but it's important. It's always important when you're moving fast and you're in an organization like we have in the city of Southaven. We're blessed that we have a strong economy, and we have a lot of things going on. There are an enormous amount of things that happen in a year, and a lot of times when you have your nose down to the grindstone, you don't stop and look back and just see the progress that we've made. So I think it's important at this time of year. It's a good time to stop and just kind of think about, the things that have happened in the last 12 months, what I would call a year in review. And so I just want to kind of, that's on the screens, but I just want to kind of quickly walk through some of this just to, again, kind of let everybody know where we've been and how, successful we've been as a city in 2022. First of all, as I said, our economy, even with the challenges that are going on, on a national scale, the economy in Southaven is still tremendous. We have a booming economy still. We got sales tax continued growth trend, internet sales tax growth trend still positive. Our fund balance, we got a lot of moving parts with ARPA money coming in and out and the other things, but we still have a trend where we're able to add to the fund balance annually. New business permits, the last few years we've got to levels that haven't been that high since the early 2000s during the crazy growth years, so we're back on those levels again. Spent a lot of time this year, even though there's nothing formally done at this time, but developing the Metropolitan District, which is a Church Road I-55 area, and we've got we're going to have a hotel convention center coming there. We're actually in discussions now, working on that, finalizing that to try to get that thing going. That will be a game changer for the entire county. When that does happen, it will be the first full-service hotel that's ever been in DeSoto County in the history of our area, and it will be super nice, and we'll give tourism another booster shot. I mean, it just will, you know, we've done well with tourism, but if we can get a convention center and a nice hotel right there, it's going to pay big-time dividends, not just for Southaven because it's located in Southaven, but it will radiate throughout the county. It'll be a great thing. So even though nothing has hit the ground yet, a lot of my time has been spent working on that this year, and in 2023 we'll start to see some movement there. Our entertainment district, y'all know that we created the first ever entertainment district in the history of DeSoto County in the Snowden district. We've had tremendous progress there. Obviously, Silo Square is not all of that, but is a super key piece to that development. And as y'all know, they've just been rocking and rolling in 22 with all the new restaurants, new mixed-use buildings that have come there. So the progress is tremendous. We continue to improve recreational value in our city. I know y'all shared my goal to make our city a better place to live and a place where people, you know, enjoy living. We got the Bank Plus Amphitheater Enhancement Project that's massive. It is on the edge of being done. We expect that within a few weeks that project will be finalized. Parks enhancement funding, you know, we had to fight in Jackson again to get our tourism tax extended. That took a lot of time and effort, but we were successful. You know, y'all may remember that we were told that there was some opposition that was going to prevent that from happening, which would have killed our funding for our parks. We refused to accept a no answer and did whatever we had to do, and we were successful. So that was big for our city. The neighborhood park trails and pavilions that our board approved, that is actually in design. So that very detailed plan to add trails and pavilions in our neighborhood parks. We're redoing the roofs at Snowden Grove. That's underway now. The arena volleyball parking expansion has been completed. We were in dire need of that. If you haven't seen that place on a Saturday when there's a volleyball tournament, just ride down Highway 51. It's incredible, the demand for girls volleyball in our city, and we had to have that park, and that's been done. Pickleball courts, for the first time ever in our history, we now have pickleball as part of our parks plan. The only thing lacking on that project is for the weather to give us a break so we can paint the actual playing surface, so that's almost done. As I mentioned earlier, we finished our first year, our inaugural year of having perfect game baseball. Y'all know that we made a change from USSSA to perfect game, and the reason we did that is just because perfect game enables us to have more age groups and to bring more tournaments, and it's been a very successful venture, and we've been able to preserve the Dizzy Dean World Series contract as well. We had our first Fall Fest in October this year. Next year we will have a steak cooking contest, and so our plan is to have barbecue contests in the spring, steak contests in the fall. It was a huge event, very, very popular, very, very well received this year, so we feel like we got a great new tradition with Fall Fest. We're celebrating our history for the first time ever. We're still a baby as far as cities go. We're incorporated in 1980. 42 years is a very young city, but we're old enough now where we can celebrate some of the people that have done special things in our past and to honor some of the special places that have meant a lot to our citizens over the years. So y'all know that we just completed our archive library. We just honored our first person in our tribute hall, and we have our historical marker signs on order, and as soon as they're in, you'll start to see those pop up around the city. Aggressive infrastructure improvement, always, it's so important. We finally, Whitney, finished our state line Get Well monument sign. How long did that take?
18 months, 24 months.
Yeah, it took a long time, but actually building the sign was not the issue, but we had to, getting permission to get the land that we need. It was a complicated thing, but it's a beautiful entrance to our city. In fact, the state line, this sign is my favorite one. If you look at all of them, I think we finally, mastered it from getting the dimensions right and everything right. The landscaping is beautiful. It's a beautiful entrance to our city coming out of Tennessee into Mississippi. Wayfinding signs for the first time ever. We noted our special places in our city. With these signs were installed at 13 key intersections The Getwell South widening project has already been bid. It's ready for construction, as I mentioned earlier. That's huge. Besides the, state and federal highways, Getwell Road is the #1 biggest traffic problem in our city, so we're doing something about that soon. Pepper Chase Road, south extension is almost done. That's big for us too with the Church Road Lander Center traffic. Our pedestrian bridge was completed and opened back in April or May. We completed the Snowden Grove multi-use trail to connect to the bridge. And then we've got the next one is the Getwell Maiden Nail multi-use trail, which when those are done, it will have all the trails connected, all through Snowden Grove Park, crossing the bridge. The one through Silo will happen in 2023. That goes to Tullahoma. Then that will connect to our Tullahoma Trail that runs through Central Park, and that will create the longest pedestrian path in DeSoto County's history. Street resurfacing, I'm so proud of that. Again, in the early days, when I took office, we had about $500,000 we're spending on the streets. We completed $4.7 million in 2022. We put a new traffic signal at Rasco and Tullahoma. We started our Driving DeSoto campaign for the I-55 widening project. It's going well. If you haven't signed that, there's a petition on that website. Please go and sign that. And our goal is to, to get consensus among our state legislators and get funding for that much needed project. We repair drainage every year. We allocate $500,000 over the last 10 years. We've been able to solve so many drainage projects, haven't we, Dan Cordell? I mean, so many. In 2013, the #1 thing people were calling me about before I even knew where the mayor's office was fix my drainage. We have flooding, we had this, we've known about this for years, never done anything about it. So we got really aggressive with that, and we've been able to solve a lot of problems over the years with that, and the same thing in 2022. With some of the ARPA money, y'all know that we have another huge project that has been a menace for some of our homeowners and citizens for years, and that's the Carriage Hills Estates Drainage Project. That's currently in design. That will happen. We have another project at Autumn Woods that we've been putting Band-Aids on for years and years. It's a major culvert that needs to be replaced. That's being designed now as well, so those two projects will be back before you in 2023. Our commitment to public safety has not changed. I'm so proud of our board. We work well together. We've had the same vision for keeping our city safe. We know that all these things that we talk about mean absolutely nothing if we don't have a safe place to live. So I commend Chief Moore and his team. We've done an incredible job, fighting crime and sending that message again that in Southaven things are going to be different. So you're welcome to come to Southaven, but you're going to act right when you get here. And we have a police that enforces that for us, and we're all on the same page with our philosophy. I'm pumped about that. Y'all know that we continue our officer expansion plan, and we did that again in 2022. So now over the last 3 years, our police force is up 28% in 3 years. That's incredible. As y'all know, it's very expensive to do that. It's tough to do that, but we found a way, and I appreciate the board's commitment there. The fire hydrant expansion project, when you talk about annexation, first thing that people want to say is, what are you going to do for me if you annex me? Well, we've proven that we do honor the commitments that the city made in the past. So in 2016, it was brought to my attention by our utilities director and our fire chief that we have places in our city that were annexed that don't have the same size water lines to get the same type of pressure and fire hydrant system there to protect their homes like we do in other parts of the city. So we wanted to honor that commitment, change that. We have done that, and we're down to our last phase to complete that project. We did a lot of work on that in 2022 as well. Fire station number 5, y'all probably think I'm crazy bringing that up in a public meeting, but you know what? The good news, I can find some good news. There's two, you can look at things in a negative way or a positive way. And fire station number 5, we've had some, some hang-ups, some struggles that I'm not going to mention, but the good thing I'm going to say is we made some critical decisions that now have us on the right path. So we are going to have fire station number 5 completed in 2023, and the reason is we've made some difficult decisions in 2022. That's why that's on my list. Then the vision for the future. Our job is to, not just to celebrate what's going on right now, but to make sure that we make good decisions to, to do the right thing for our city in the future. Some of the big steps that are taken there, y'all know we're still working on the sewer issue with Memphis. We did receive some funding for that during the legislative session. That's an ongoing thing that we'll still be working on, but we definitely did a good job of communicating the problem in 2022 with the people that can help us with funding. So that's the success story of tonight. Commercial medical zone, first time in the city's history we set up that zone, and that's for the future consideration of medical marijuana dispensaries. We have in the process of revising and creating a property database which will enhance our nuisance property ordinance effectiveness. Y'all know that it stemmed from some of the concerns of rental property. We've not added a rental ordinance, but what we did do is we have the nuisance property ordinance that will address rentals, but having this database is key. That way we can track, where our problems are coming from in the city, and that will be key for us in the future moving forward. And that's it. Forgive me for being so long-winded, but we had a lot of stuff going on in 2022, and I just want to thank this board. Things move fast. Y'all do a great job of, thinking quick on your feet, not sitting on things. When y'all are presented with complete information, y'all are ready to make a decision. I commend you for that. That's why our city has been able to move as fast as we have, because you don't make excuses not to make a decision. You get the information, you make solid decisions, and I thank you for that. I thank our team as well, all of our department heads and all of our employees. We have a fantastic team in this city. Things move well and operate well. We got a group of people that are receptive and embrace the priorities that I've set. They've done a great job embracing that and helping me. And so in the day-to-day operations, so our city has done extremely well. And I always like to say, like I said, when you look up and look back to see how far you've come, I can say in 2022, on this day, December 20th, 2022, we're a much better city and a much better situation than we were on the same date, December 20th, 2021. So I'm proud of that. And lastly, just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Everybody be careful. The weather's going to be nasty before we get to Christmas, so please be extremely careful. But I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and gets a chance to spend some quality time with the people that they love the most. And that's all that I have. So does anyone have any questions about any of the stuff I've talked about?
Mayor, just one suggestion I'd like to make. It's not my board, but you mentioned Getwell. Since we're getting these new LED lights, I think it'd be great if we can improve that lighting on Getwell from the city limits going down towards Goodman. It's pretty dark over there, and I think it'd be a good time to make those improvements while we're working on the far end, widen it, go ahead and light this up on the north end and improve the visibility.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's my understanding from Entergy that Whitney, that all the new lighting is going to be that, correct?
Everything's gonna be LED from here on out. Anything they install will be
Well, I mean, there's a lot of those there's a lot of places that there are no streetlights now. We need to add. What I'm saying is we might want to look at adding more on Getwell.
We're getting added down Getwell Road as well, south of Goodman Road, all the way down past Dickens Place there. They've got an overhaul for that whole area.
And the conversion is not just residential neighborhoods, it does include arterial roads. So all the places that you see the old lighting, that's in their plan to be redone.
Well, I know, like north of state line to the city limits, there's no street lights at all, and then going from state line down to Goodman, there's sparsely.
You talking about on Getwell?
Yeah, on Getwell.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they need to look at that also. It would be nice to have it bright, because since it is such a major corridor.
Yeah, we can have them review that and then look and see, just like we would do anywhere, if it needs to be lit up better. Entergy has been very receptive to that, so I don't think that would be any problem for us. Yeah. And while you're talking about that, just briefly to update everyone, I've gotten questions from citizens about it, but where Entergy has trimmed the trees on Goodman and Getwell, that's because for their expanded power grid as our city grows on the eastern part of our city, they've got to expand their grid, so that's why they're putting up lines on the north side of Goodman and on the other side of Getwell, so that's why you see that. It's necessary.
Orange markers.
Well, it's funny
I read the notes.
You read the note, okay. I was about to say you read my mind, but yeah, the orange. I'm not gonna make any Tennessee ball fan jokes, but The orange is, yeah, it sticks out, you know, very much so, and so I
That's
understand.
up on the, pole
On the
itself,
top, but
right?
that's,
Yeah.
it's temporary, that
Oh,
will
okay.
be removed, so,
I know what it is.
yeah. So anyway, we'll, so what is it?
Well, they're expanding the grid. A lot of people were
No, I
upset.
mean, the orange, do you know?
It's protection, so
Yeah.
they'll. Insulators?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so
Same
that
kind of
will,
stuff that you put over the lines, but you actually work on the transformers and connections.
yeah. So, so anyway, that is temporary and will be removed, but all the, poles are necessary for Entergy to expand the grid, you know, and if someone, you know, I've been asked a lot of times about the light poles and this and that, but, when you have weather like we're about to have, you know, and the power's out, the number one thing is, do we have electricity? The second thing is, what does it look like? So, anyway, it's necessary for Entergy to get our power back on in a hurry, for their grid to be in good condition, so that's the purpose of the additional poles, yeah. Anybody got anything else? Okay.
Very positive.
All right, we'll move on, and that's the end of the mayor's report. So the next thing on our agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on this date.
Second?
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is the city attorney's legal update.
Just one quick item, the Gardens of Bell Point Homeowners Association is in the process of amending their bylaw, or their covenants, and as part of that, the covenants required the city to approve when they did amend their, covenants, which is, not the norm. But since that is required, as part of their amending the covenants, I've drafted a letter, for, Planning Director Whitney Cook to sign an approval for tonight, for her to send that letter approving it, but also requesting that any, that it also be amended to reflect that the city doesn't have to approve your covenants, since we have no legal authority to enforce covenants whatsoever. But since it is in the covenants, and in order for them to amend their covenants, authorization for Whitney to send that letter to the Gardens of Bell Point to allow them to amend their covenants.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
And that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our utilities billing leak adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill leak adjustment docket as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda are two claims dockets.
Mr. Mayor, move we approve claims docket number 1 in the amount of $4,202,238.44, including demand checks.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $17,649.33.
Second.
We have a motion on docket 2 by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is ongoing and potential litigation involving the city, economic development within the city, and interdepartmental personnel with no action. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.